Good morning. Good morning. Hey, read the show notes, everybody. Pickle pie. Hey, Front Porch, did you have your first show? Sorry, I'm so out of it because I'm trying to get my house ready to sell. So I have not been, literally have not been on whatnot other than just to do a few things I'm supposed to do tonight. Okay, awesome. So have you been out networking and getting bookmarks? So everybody please go in and bookmark Front Porch Senora. Her first show is tonight. So there's 10 people in here right now. Everybody go bookmark this show for Front Porch Senora, who is having her first show tonight. Give her some support. 6 p.m. my time. She's doing a fat quarters yardage and panels, and she's got more shows scheduled out. So make sure you get those bookmarked. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Welcome in. Yeah, we did have a show Monday and Tuesday. Today we're having a show at 11:30 Mountain Time. We're just doing as much as we can because we're just trying to get our house in shape to sell. So it's kind of crazy right now, on top of other things. So welcome in. I don't know. It's like no matter how well, it doesn't help that I sell and whatnot. So we have a lot of extra stuff that normal people don't have, namely a lot of fabric. But on top of that, it's just, when you live in a house, you neglect certain things. And then when you're looking at it through the lens of, oh, I want to sell my house, suddenly there's this massive to-do list of everything that you've kind of neglected for a while because you just lived with it. Did you see the updated swipe left for the app? And you can do it twice and totally clear your screen of font and icons. Let me see. So I just swipe once on the Android and it does it. So is it swipe twice on iPhone? Because on the Android, I just did it and it swiped once, just locally. So not too far. Um, we're just wanting a better space for our business, and we're getting older. We're in that 55 plus category, and the house that we're living in has 3 levels, and going up and downstairs for everything is killing us. So we're just wanting less stairs. Less stairs. The reason that we bought the house that we're in, well, multiple reasons. Um, but it's very close to my mom's house. And so we moved here in 2020 to be close to her. She was getting older and she passed away 2 summers ago. And so the big reason for being, where we are at is kind of gone. And then my daughter graduated high school last year. So, yeah, we're just kind of wanting to not be in this house forever. And I feel like I have to do it now before I get any older or I'll get stuck here. So, yeah, there's that shadow I thought I was casting with my light being. I just swiped it away. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, so it's just one swipe and it takes everything away, it looks like. Which is, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that because you do still want people to see the auction. Does it still show the auction? I think it does. Oh, do it twice? Okay, so twice is doing nothing for me on the iPad. On the Android, it's doing one swipe, takes everything away. So I'm not sure. Stairs do keep you young. But um, when you have a husband with a really bad back and me with a bad hip, it's like torture. So, yeah. So, yeah, twice did nothing for me. It just did once. You're in that same issue. Yeah. So, yeah, we thought it was his hip because he's been having a lot of pain. And he went in and thinking that maybe we were looking at a hip replacement, but nope, it's his lower back and it's just shot. And there's not a whole lot you can do about backs. Surgery is really not usually a good option. And so you just have to do management things to try and, do it better. He was in a really bad car accident about 10 years ago, and we think it did a lot more damage than we knew at the time. That's usually the case. Um, Plus, he played rugby in college for years, and rugby is really hard on your body. So there's that. Yeah. Okay. So on the iPhone, one swipe leaves the top banner with name and number in the room, but removes comments. Two swipes removes everything. Okay. So let me try it on the camera phone. So 1, 2. I think it's because I'm on my own because I'm the one that's live. I'll have to try it on someone else's live. So that makes sense. So that's a good update. As far as I know, because I did update it the other day and I have automatic updates turned on. So I think it is. But I'll definitely try it if not. Because I think I do have the updated version. All right. Read show notes. If you have questions or comments, put them in chat with a question mark. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that trick. So I do try to remind people in shows to swipe if they want to look at something closer or see a better view without all the junk in there. But that's cool that they did it twice so that you can have everything gone and not have anything on the screen. All right, let's see. Yeah, I do feel kind of out of it, and I'm sorry I don't have. I have just not been on Whatnot trying to get my house ready because if I get Whatnot on, then I'll get nothing done. So, yeah, that's what I think One Swipe does. I think the auction is still on there. Let's try it by running an auction. Let me run a buy it now item as an auction. So nobody buy anything. I'll just do a 3 second, or no, let's do 5 seconds, and everyone can see what it does. Okay. So here's an auction running. Clear your screen. Do you still see the auction? So did you guys still see the auction? Or was that too fast? So yes, you saw it. Nope, everything was cleared. So maybe it depends. So Front Porch, are you on Android? And Lovely, are you on iPhone? So not if you swipe twice, you see nothing. On iPhone, if you swipe once, did you still see the auction running? That's the thing that I'm kind of concerned about. If you swipe twice, it's all gone. If once, see the auction. Okay, they're perfect. All right, yeah, because I was thinking I would still want them to see the auction running because then they can still see the item and bid if they want to, instead of having to go back quickly and possibly miss being able to bid. So yeah, that's cool. That is nice. All right. I'm trying to think if I know of anything coming down the pike. Well, first of all, if you were here Tuesday, we talked about there was a rumor and some photos going around in some of the Whatnot Facebook groups about a shipping update in July. Um, the official word from Whatnot was, oops, that was a test. That is not anything, that was a test, not currently being implemented. Sorry for the confusion. So if you saw that, don't panic. That wasn't apparently something they're actually going to roll out. I don't know what it means for the future, but at least that's the official word I got. So that was from Whatnot employee themselves. So as far as I know, that's not happening. Yeah, it is nice to be able to just see the auction if you don't want to see the chat. Most people, well, especially if there's things you're interested in, it's nice to be able to focus on the auction and not have to see the chat. So, otherwise, sometimes you're just in a show to kind of hang out. Then you do want to see the chat, and maybe that helps you not to buy. Because I know how that is too sometimes, right? Sometimes you're like, not buying, not buying, not swiping, ignoring what's on the screen. Just here to chat and enjoy people. So, yeah, sometimes that's the mode that we have to be in. So, what's everybody got going on for summer? What strategies are you using? Let's talk about that. What strategies are you using right now to combat the slower sales season? So, June through August are the slowest sales season online on every platform, even brick and mortar. It is a slower time. People are on vacation, people are outdoors, people are gardening, hiking, camping, doing all the other stuff. It's a big time for Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that, because people are doing yard work and home repairs and stuff like that. It's probably a good season for AutoZone and some of those kinds of stores, but for in general, it's slower all the way around. So, what kind of things are you doing to be creative? What are you using your time for? I always advise people use the slow time to get really organized and start curating some exciting shows for the future that you can get put together, that you can have already on your schedule for a few months out, and be really prepping and planning for those. And then also, you can start finding stuff that needs to go, do clearance type shows, more unique shows to get rid of stuff that is just taking up space, things like that. What accounting program do you use? I honestly, I just use spreadsheets. I don't do anything fancy. I have an accountant who does my taxes, and as long as I keep things reasonably organized and just turn it over to them, that's what does me good. Um, I kind of I have a problem with getting too much into the details. It drives me crazy because I'm a type A personality, and if I can't have perfection, I go nuts. And so like I choose to be more like, okay, here's the basics, and I don't dig into the details. Um, so, you kind of have to do what you have to do to have a good balance. Because honestly, you could spend more time doing the numbers and the accounting and then never actually get some shows done. So, because honestly, this business is a lot about your creativity and your ability to make a show happen and work on the fly, because you just never know on this platform who's going to show up and what they're going to want and what's going to be, make the show great, and you've got to be able to pivot. And so I spend a lot more time doing that kind of stuff, just because you know, that's what really ends up making me more successful. Yeah, a lot of perfectionists are that way too. If I can't make it perfect, I don't want to do it at all. And so, I think, you have to find what balance works for you with that kind of stuff. Um, Apple's number spreadsheet a billion times easier than Excel when I did my taxes. Oh, that's good. Yeah. A packing slip is not included with all purchases from various sellers. Why would they not include a packing slip? Um, it's not required. In the terms of service, we're not required to send a packing slip. I personally think it's good business sense to send one for a couple of reasons. One, it's free advertising. You've got you know, you've got a little slip of paper you can include, write a little note, put a sticker on it, put your label on it, that, your logo on it, sign it with your username. They remember who it came from. Um, and number two, which is probably the more important reason, is it has their name and return address on it. And I think that's important to have in the package, so that if something happens to that package, it can be traced. Um, those two things. So I just think it's good form to include a packing slip. Not all sellers are doing it just because it's an expense. It's extra labels or paper or printers or whatever. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's a mixed bag, because I've had very few customers who have said, I want a packing slip, and then most of the people don't care. So I think people are siding on the most people don't care side, and just not going to the extra expense. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to poll, a huge amount of buyers and see where it lands. But I don't know. I'm guessing, I don't know. You guys are all buyers too. Where do you land? So if you feel like it's important, hey, Fabric Bruce, welcome in. If you think it's important to have a packing slip, or you want a packing slip as a buyer, tell me yes. And if you don't feel that way, say no, and let's see where we land. So we've got, I don't need one. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so yes is winning. So that tells you, in our community at least, most people want a packing slip. So there you go. I like them, otherwise I don't know how much I spent. Maybe that's why some people don't send them. They don't want people to remember how much they spent, so they'll keep coming back and buying more, huh? Okay. I like to verify my order is complete. Yes, I think that's a good reason too. At the very least, you can see on that packing slip, I bought 5 items. Are there 5 items in here? Yes. So, yeah. I I don't know. I kind of fall in the middle, because I'm kind of like, I get the, wanting to verify, I get that it's important to have their name and address. I like the free advertising, and I side on the side of caution, so I always send a packing slip. But yeah. Yeah, you can always check your orders, but that's a pain, to, go in and look, especially if you buy a lot, trying to verify, you know, especially if you can't obviously tell who that was from. That's another thing that bugs me. At least have your return address updated with your username, with your seller username, so that people can see who that package came from if you're not going to put a packing slip. But yeah, that's what I was saying, Timber. It has something inside that has the address if it gets damaged. So I think that's important for that reason alone, because they can at least get it off of there. Do you know anything about the Shopify and whatnot integration with the packing slip? Um, I don't know how it affects the packing slip necessarily, because what it is it just, you can, it's an integration where you can bring your listings from Shopify into Whatnot, and then it will update your inventory on Shopify if you sell that item. So it's just populating fields. So if you have a Shopify shop and you have lots of details in your description, and when it integrates over, then you're going to have a much longer packing slip, because it does put, a certain amount of info on the packing slip. So shorter descriptions is what most people do here on Whatnot, but maybe not the same on other platforms. So, but I don't, it's not necessarily any different. It's just putting the fields in from one platform to the other. You can put a Whatnot description that's shorter in your Shopify product. Yeah. So, once you integrate it over, you can always update it. But that kind of then makes the whole point of being able to integrate your listing not as, because the point of it would be to save you a lot of work of not having to recreate listings, right? So if you're having to edit them anyway, you can put, yeah. So I don't know a whole lot about it, just because I don't have a Shopify. I've heard from other people that it's great to have because they're not having to do as much with tracking inventory, and it does bring it over, but that it's a little bit like they're having to still modify a lot of fields. So it's like your inventory isn't keeping up during a live show. So it isn't subtracting out your, like if you sell something in Whatnot, it didn't update it over in Shopify for you. Oh, it takes a while for it to go through. That kind of makes sense, because it would probably be a batch type thing where the integration isn't instant. That, because you're actually having to go in and do the integration, right? So yeah, I can see that. So that's kind of a bummer if it's not instantaneous. So you could possibly have someone buy something on your Shopify account, and you actually already sold it through Whatnot. Yeah, that's a problem. So just be careful about that. I would just say always cite on caution, which I do on Whatnot anyway. I always, like, if I have a bolt of fabric, I always have a yard in reserve. If it's a brand new bolt, instead of 15 yards, I put 14, because when you start cutting, you just don't know, what it's going to find, what you're going to find, if you're going to accidentally over cut it. I'm really cautious about that, because I would rather sell 14 yards and then realize that I only have a half a yard left on that bolt than to sell a yard and realize it was short by 6 inches or something. So, I always am very cautious with my inventory, because I can always sell end of bolt later, as a smaller piece. Yeah. So just be cautious about that so you don't oversell. Welcome in, welcome in. How's everybody today? Um, yeah, so tell me some of the things you're doing this summer to get organized, stay productive during a slower time. Hey, B. Haynes, welcome in. What are the things that you're doing to try and, stay productive during the slower time and still, have good shows? What times have you found have been your good shows so far in the last couple of weeks? Interested to see. I just briefly went on Whatnot last night before I went to bed. I didn't even go into any shows. And I saw that there were a couple of shows. And this was after midnight, my time. There were a couple of shows in Fabricon that had one of them had 60 something people and one of them had 30 something people. I was like, wow, that's, you know, but people stay up a little bit later in the summertime. So, yeah, my shows have been very slow. Wonder if it's economy, don't know when to go on anymore. Well, that's what we were talking about. So, it is the slow season just naturally. And then on top of that, the economy's a little bit in the tank because of gas prices and other things. So it is going to be slower because June through August are the slowest times for online sales in almost every category. There's a few categories that stay steady and a few categories that actually pick up depending on what you sell. So, and groceries, yeah, groceries are not great. Groceries have been up since COVID. I mean, give them an excuse to raise the price, they will, and then if it ever comes down again, you're lucky, you know, and that's how it is with most things. So it's unfortunate. My biggest discouragement is feeling like I cannot compete with the huge sellers with 50 to 100 viewers who are on all the time. Yeah, that is hard, but if you allow that to, change your consistency, then you're going to get nowhere fast. So you have to decide what you're willing to put into it and then decide because you've got to have, there's a lot of factors that go into being successful on this platform. I've been here pretty much the longest of all the sellers. And when I first started selling in the fabric category on Whatnot, there were gaps of time during the day where there were no sellers on. I mean, big gaps. So there were just a handful of us. But we didn't have a lot of buyers, so it was, it's a mix, right? Now there's a lot of competition with a lot of sellers, but we have a lot of buyers. And so I've noticed that no matter what time you go on, there's still a lot of buyers and people hop around show to show. So, what can you do to make it so that people want to be in your show? And consistency is the key with, building an audience. You have to be on there regularly. You have to do certain things to make people want to come to your show and stay in your show. And I can't tell you the exact formula because everybody's different. Everybody has different personalities. Everybody has different inventory. Everybody has a different way of putting a show together. You have to figure out what's going to work for you and what's going to bring people to your show and make them want to stay. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's just not the right fit for some people to do live auctions because there's just not the mix of what they sell and their personality and their ability to sell and their ability to keep an audience just doesn't work. So do some deep thinking about how live selling works for you, and is it a good mix? Maybe it isn't, maybe it is. Maybe you just need to switch some things up. Maybe you need to figure out a better way to do it. So the exercise I tell people to do is to go into 10 shows you've never been in before in your category and some out of your category, and write down, and you can do this for more than 10. More than 10 might even be better. And write down, why did I want to stay? Why did I want to leave? Okay, so why did I want to stay? Why did I want to leave? Oh, thank you, Lily. How are you today? Um, so, and then once you've done that, and this is with your buyer hat on. So, from the perspective of a buyer, because you're all buyers too. Why did I want to stay in that show? Why did I want to leave? And then you're going to start going, oh my gosh, this is why people aren't staying in my show, or this is why people are leaving, or this is why, because you're going to start to see some trends of things that you do or that you don't do, and you're going to figure things out a little bit better. And I'm not saying mimic someone else exactly, because you can't. You cannot exactly mimic something. That's the beauty of human nature. We're all unique and different and wonderful in different ways. You need to do whatever you need to do your way to help people want to come in your show and stay in your show. Figure out what that is, figure out the magic for yourself. And, you find your tribe by being consistent. And if you don't have the time, the patience, the money to be consistent, maybe this isn't for you. It doesn't have to be for everybody. There's other, platforms, there's other methods, there's other things you can do. So don't beat yourself up if you can't figure out a way to make it work for you. And there are some people that just have the magical personality, the magical business aptitude to make it just like they can go on whatnot, and within a year they're like, huge and doing all kinds of amazing things. But trust me, it's hard work. It's hard work. I work so many hours a week to make this happen. And this is our full-time income. And if you want it to be your full-time income, you've got to put in full-time hours. If you can't put in full-time hours, it's going to stay a part-time gig. Does that make sense? Because you can't have a full-time job and be putting in part-time hours and expect to have full-time outcome, right? So, yeah. Oh, thank you, B. Haynes. So you just have to decide, what am I willing and what am I able, what am I going to put into this? And, some people, their goal is just side gig. I just want to have fun. I just want to have a little bit of extra income. I just want to make enough to support what I buy. Then that's a whole different, stay focused on what your goals are. Because if that's your goal, is just, I just need a little extra so that I can justify my spending, then stay focused on that and don't even worry about what other big sellers are doing, because it's not relevant to your goal. Does that make sense? All right. Lula says, I want to start selling. What are your top 3 recommendations for starting out? Let me pin it for you. So I have a Draz top 10 tips right here. They aren't necessarily in order of importance after number 3, but pretty much there you go. Top 10 tips. Let me review them really quick with you. Number 1, you have to have shows scheduled. That's how people find you. That's how you start getting bookmarks. And bookmarks are the number 1 thing that count in an algorithm for your show to show up when someone opens the app. Number 1 thing. All right. Let's see. How do you get the whatnot mark on shipping labels? Do they provide labels or you print? Yeah, you have to buy labels, and then when you print the shipping label, it prints it out on there. So it's the shipping label that they generate when you make a sale, then you print it on the label and it prints that on there. Good morning, Bougie. How are you? Lily Lane would love some bookmarks on her 623 Raid Train show. Can everyone click on Lily Lane? Let me get out here so I can do that. Let me back up here so I can find you. 1 second. All right, everyone click on Lily Lane. And she has a vintage decor, vintage goodness, or vignette goodness show on the 12th, and then a Raid Train on the 23rd. That's the one she's asking for bookmarks on. Just got that bookmarked. I've got everything else except for that one and one more bookmarked for you. Awesome. Thank you for stopping in. All right. Let's see. Let me get the questions pulled up here. Sailor says, I'm in another show and a host seller is wondering about starting and stopping shows in order to maximize shipping. Is there a specific max time between? Yes. If you want to restart the same show, you have to start it within 2 hours. So, like, it can't be the minute it hits 2 hours from the time you stopped, too late. So, and here's the restart instructions, right? Let me find them here. I just pinned them. So if you need to take a screenshot of that and send it to her, that's how you do it. It has to be done on the web version on your PC. All right, and then my top 10 tips. Let me pull that back up. So number 1, schedule shows. Number 2 is to go live. Consistency. That's how you get found, is that you're live, you're on there doing a show. If you want to grow really fast, do a heck of a lot of shows. You know, if you don't have the time, the schedule, the motivation, you don't care to grow super fast, then less frequency is okay. But consistency is the key. So number 1, schedule shows, and number 2, go live. Number 3, get some things listed so that people can find you through your listings, and you have things listed when you go live so that people see what you're going to have and want to stick around. That's super important when you're new, a little less important when you're established, but still, if you want new buyers consistently, listings make a huge difference because that's how people search on platforms. They go to, you open an app, you open Amazon, you open eBay, you open whatever. What do? You type something in the search bar. New users to Whatnot don't know how it works. So they come to the app and they use the search bar. If they find nothing, or they kind of leave, you know, so you got to have some listings for people to start finding you when they're new to the app, because that's the only way they know how apps work. And then they figure out pretty quick the the whole auction thing, but when they first come on. What is not bought? Not bought is a product someone made that works with whatnot to print out labels as you sell. R. Nickerson says, "Hi Dana, just wanted to share a bad experience I have with seller. It makes me appreciate the great sellers such as you and Bert more than ever." Aw, thank you, and I'm sorry you had a bad experience. That's another thing. That makes me think, okay, if you are not going to be able to provide good customer service, meaning, sure, you can go live and sell stuff, but you're not going to pack it right, you're not going to ship it quickly, you're not going to respond nicely if someone has a problem with their order, please don't sell on Whatnot. Just don't do it. It's not worth your time. You're going to get booted off pretty quick anyway, and it gives everybody else a bad name because someone has comes on Whatnot and buys something, and if it was their first experience and it was a bad one, do you think they're going to come back? So please, if you want to sell, you need to be in it 100% from start to finish and do the right thing to fulfill. Because why would you put in all that work to get a show ready, have a show, and then just kind of be like, what? Because you're not going to last. It's not going to last. Don't even bother. Okay? Don't bother. I'm being blunt, but that's the truth, right? So that's why. So here's this document that I put together that kind of lays it out as well. A lot of people really like this because it just kind of boom, the 5 F's of attracting buyers: fun, fast-paced, findings, fulfillment. So you have to have fun shows. People want to have a show that is entertaining as well as has stuff they want to buy. It's got to be a good mix. Does it have to be like the most hilarious comedy show you've ever seen? Of course not. It just needs to be enough that it holds their attention and they want to stay in your show. And you find the people that are like-minded that want to stay in your show. It's different in every category. It's different for everybody. Everybody has a different vibe, but you have to have enough people that like what you're doing that they want to come and stick around. All right, fast pace. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you have to do 5 second sudden death for everything. It just means that you've got to keep your shows going at a good enough clip that people don't lose interest. 10 seconds is what you have to keep people's interest. That is what studies have shown, that people have a 10-second attention span. And if you haven't done anything in that 10 seconds to keep their attention, they're out of there. All right. Findings. You have to have the right kind of stuff people want to buy, or you need to have the right kind of salesmanship to make it the right kind of stuff people want to buy. And I don't mean you're selling people, down the river. I mean the way that you sell. You take something ordinary and show how it can be used, what you can make with it, where it can go, how you're going to wear it. The way that you're able to present that item, suddenly it's so much more attractive and it's going to sell better because you are a good salesperson. You have to learn how to sell. And you have to have the right kind of things people want to buy. And then you've got to be able to fulfill orders. So those first 3, you could be doing fantastic at that. And then on the back end, if you don't ship quickly and provide good customer service, it's all going to start going down the drain quickly. So you've got to have good customer service. Frequency. is the last F. All those other things are great. And if you want to have good, consistent growth and grow at the pace that you're happy to grow at, you've got to be on here enough that people see you and make your shows part of their regular schedule. So that's the 5 F's. There you go. Take a screenshot of that and hang it up somewhere and keep looking at it to help you, stay on track with what you need to be doing to make this work. All right. Lake Dad says, agree, it's all about customer service. That is any setting, not just what not preach. Yes, any setting. It's true. Any platform, if you can't provide good customer service, people will stop coming. Is pausing a show different than restarting? Well, you can minimize your show for a few minutes, if you have an emergency and then go back on. That's just minimizing it and pausing for a second. That's different than restart. A restart is a hard end. You're either ending or rating as if you're done. And then you can actually go in and restart the same show as long as it's within 2 hours and it's actually considered, it actually is the same show. Let's see. Best advice for finding fabric to buy, to resell, and make a profit. So here's what I can say about sourcing. First of all, sellers are going to be very close to the vest about their sourcing, because if we aren't close to the vest, we lose our sources and we can't make a profit. So no seller is going to tell you anything very specific. But what I will say is that the best sources are usually your local area. You start with what you already have, then you go to your friends, your neighbor, your family, and start sourcing what people around you have. And then you go to, Facebook Marketplace, thrift, and you can do retail arbitrage as well, which is where you find things on clearance at retail and you're able to flip it for enough of a profit for it to make sense. So there's lots of different things you can try. But I would say the best source is always what you can see, touch, smell, pick up yourself, because then it's legit. Because a lot of people are getting scammed trying to buy things online and it's not legit, and they spend money and they go to pick it up and it doesn't exist, or they wait for it to be shipped and it never ships. So be very careful about buying in bulk from, unverified, unreliable sources. Be very careful about, where you buy. So that's what I will say about that. Let's see. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions that I missed. Did I miss any? Let me know if I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Prism says, I have quite a bit listed in my buy it now, and in the last week I've had 3 people who've never been on Whatnot create an account and make a purchase. Exactly. List some items, you guys, because people come on and search, and if you have some things listed by brand with nice pictures, people will come and either come to your shows because of that listing or come buy them out of your shop. Create some nice listings. So good to hear. Bougie Bee, it prints as soon as you saw. Oh yeah, you were talking about Notbot. Yeah. So there's a couple of different software people have developed where you integrate it sort of with your Whatnot sales, and as you're live selling, it prints a little sticker that you can just grab and stick on the item. I haven't tried one because the way we do our shows, we do a bin system because we don't have to. We sell together, my husband and I, And it just works so much easier for us to create a bin as people buy, put all their stuff already in one bin. It's already sorted. When we go to ship, it's already all in there. We just verify the count. And then if there's any discrepancies, we check to make sure if we screwed up. Every great once in a while, Bert screws up. I never do. Just kidding. So yeah, we use a bin system. But if you sell by yourself, something like that might be amazing. I probably wouldn't invest in it until I'm at a certain level of sales, just because, it doesn't make sense to pay for something extra if you aren't at a level of sales to really justify it. So, oh, and Becca says it also keeps stats and a transcript of your chat. Oh, it does. It actually writes down the chat and you can print it out. Notbot does that? Wow. So that might be worth having, especially if you need, to verify something or need proof of some crap someone said, right? Does anyone know how much it is? Because I always do shows alone. So Becca sounds like Becca is using it. Can you tell everyone approximately how much it is? $30 a month. Okay, there you go. So that's not shabby. That's pretty good actually. Lake Dad, we were talking about that. Most people are just using spreadsheets. I was saying that I'm type A and I'm a perfectionist. And so my accounting has to be very simplistic because otherwise I would spend more time trying to balance everything and would not have any time to sell. So I have to keep it simple. So I honestly just keep records and give them to my accountant. So there you go. Picking with Peggy uses my reseller Genie. There you go. Yeah, I keep it simple because I can't. Yeah, I just can't. I've tried, like years and years ago, there were all these new software coming out where you could, sit down and enter all your spending and it was integrated with your bank account and it was going to make your life so much better. And like 1 month in, I was ready to do something drastic because I was like, this is driving me crazy because I was literally having to account for every penny and it drove me insane. So I'm like, nope, this is not going to work for me because I will go nuts. So, yeah. So, Reseller Genie, you don't have to enter anything. It's just keeping track, right, of your sales. It integrates with the platform. Is that what you're telling us? So, it just integrates, keeps track. Okay. Yeah. But don't you have to enter your inventory as you buy? Or is it just doing it on the back end? Chat GPT is amazing. Helps you with a lot of stuff. Use it. Okay, so Lula May wants to know how much cost of reseller Genie is. Also 30 a month. So there you go. Timber, let's see, what did Timber say? Oh yeah, about Chat GPT. I mean, holy cow. If you're trying to search for something online, just go to Chat GPT and ask where to find it instead of sitting there on the internet searching by words. They'll find it for you. It will find it for you. It can be your best friend to find things so much faster. Amazing. I mean, I have mixed feelings about AI, but as far as using it as a tool to really speed up a lot of processes, use it. It saves you so much time and frustration when you're trying to find things or trying to figure things out or where to find you know, um, where something is, or who sells certain things, or, just that kind of stuff. Um, it picks up your purchases through your account. You put it into your inventory you put it into your inventory category. Okay, there you go. So that's what Reseller Genie does. So every time but you do have to have listings, right? Because if you don't list it and you're just selling everything as a random pool, then it's not going to really do a whole lot for you, right? Timber says, I was making it so complicated. We are set up as a general partnership with me and my husband, and chat gave me a shortcut to make taxes so simple. Oh, good. Does a loaded moderator automatically load when the host opens her show? Yeah, if you saved moderators in your show settings, they will automatically be moderated when you open the show. I think that's what you're asking, Kathy. So it just downloads all the sales, right? But you don't have to have listings. Well, but I mean, if you wanted to have a specific, like I have a bolt of this certain Moda that I bought, wouldn't you have to have that listed for it to know that you bought that bolt and how many units you have? So you don't do it that way. Okay. So how do moderators get paid for their help? It depends on the seller. So you're just doing a basic cost of goods. I have X number of bolts, and on the back end, I sold X number. Yeah. Okay. Get it. Hey, like it, swipe it. How are you today? So moderators don't necessarily get paid automatically. It's up to the seller to decide if they want to compensate moderators for their time. Every seller does something different. I think a lot of the bigger sellers have hired, they actually have paid moderators because they need someone in their shows to help run shows because they've got a big audience. Most sellers, it's just, friends, family, whoever is willing, and then you do what you want to compensate them. Most sellers probably just give gifts, give extra product, and then if you have some kind of arrangement, sometimes I've seen people say all my tips go to my moderators. So it just depends on what you want to do. So yeah. Store credit, there you go. Fabric Roost does store credit. Yeah. So you just decide. Doing okay, kind of going nuts because we're trying to get our house ready to sell. We're just going to move local, but we'll see how it goes down because, those transactions never work exactly how you want them to do. The whole process of buying and selling houses makes my teeth hurt, but we just want to get something that works better for us because the house that we're in right now is all stairs, 3 levels, kind of driving us nuts going up and down stairs. So we're just kind of trying to get into a better situation to not have to go up and down so many stairs hauling fabric all the time. Let's see. Timber says, I've never done a giveaway. Where should I start? I sell new fabric. It depends. You don't necessarily have to do giveaways if you don't want to. But I will say that it helps a huge amount to do the lower cost shipping with giveaways. So learn how to set up the envelope shipping. Let me pin that for you right there. So that allows you to send things that are flat in an envelope for 78 cents instead of paying, the base shipping cost of four and some change. to do a giveaway. So set up envelope shipping in your shows and then send flat things. So flat things, stickers, cards, gift cards. You can do things that are fabric as long as they, if you have too many folds, it gets a little bit too thick. But you can do um, little things like a little kit to make something that just has little pieces. You can do um, a fat eighth if you strategically fold it right. Patterns are a great giveaway, especially like those little quilt patterns that are on postcards or the little ones that are in little packets. Yeah, it can't be thicker than 1/4 of an inch or it'll get rejected. So you've got to be careful about that. But yeah, but it really does save you a ton of money to do things in an envelope. If they buy something, it doesn't matter, it gets shipped with their order. But if you have winners who don't buy something, it saves you a ton to not have to send packages. So yeah. Let's see. Yes, you do have to be prepared that it's possible that buyer giveaways could be won by someone who filled out the form. So make sure whatever you're giving away is a buyer giveaway, that you may have to ship it to someone who did not buy from you. Don't get pissed. Don't do them if you're not ready to handle that situation. I see a lot of people in the groups get all pissed about it, block people, act all hurt about it. Don't do them if you're not willing. That's the rules. Legally, people have to be able to enter a giveaway without purchase required. That is the legal way that we can even do them at all. So don't do giveaways if you're not willing to give things away to people who don't buy something. Just don't do them. Okay. Yeah, enough said. Let's see. I had some good buyers, so put a little extra in your package. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it is disappointing, but yes, you have to treat them as if it was no big deal and great. Oh, congrats, how fun for you, and just decide. And another way that you can kind of combat that is do them quickly. So when you have a buyer giveaway running, you don't necessarily have to let it run the full 5 minutes if you don't want to. You can draw it quicker. All right, are all my buyers in? Draw. That helps a little bit. But the form is usually pre-filled out. If you have a nice gift, expect that that's a possibility because people are out there gibby goblining and trying to win things. There's just people that's their strategy. They come on Whatnot to try and win prizes. You know, it is what it is. I don't get a ton of them in our category just because not everybody shops fabric. um and why would they want to if they don't quilt sew craft, why would they want to win a yard of fabric or something? They'd be like, oh. So it just depends on what you're giving. They're rampant in coins and bullion, yes, and there's some categories that they're just like, yeah. Just send your advertisement flyers and $1 off coupon to return. You can't do that, honestly. That's against terms of service. You can send a flyer, but you're not allowed to send coupons because coupons require a purchase for them to redeem it. And you are not allowed to have something that requires a purchase. So a giveaway cannot be a coupon for a future purchase, just so you know. But yeah, you can send it with the orders as a little gift for your customers. It just can't be the actual giveaway that you advertise. So yeah, because that's against terms of service. Let's see. Did not know they did not have to buy to get the buyer giveaway. Yes, that is true. Because sweepstakes. So giveaways are considered a sweepstakes, just like, entering the publisher clearinghouse sweepstakes. You have to abide by the federal and state laws that apply to sweepstakes. So go look it up, giveaway rules, and you have to allow people to enter, no purchase required. So if you're not comfortable with that, don't do them. And if you advertise that you're giving something away, you have to send them exactly what you showed. That's required because you'll get in big trouble and can get actually your account banned if you're doing giveaways and then sending them something different. So don't ever do that. So if you decide you're going to do a giveaway and give a $20 gift card and a non-buyer wins it, oh well, you've got to send that $20 gift card to a non-buyer. That's the rules. Don't do them if you're not comfortable with it. That's the simple answer. If you're not comfortable with it, send little gifts with all of your buying customers and do dollar starts every once in a while as a reward or when you get rated instead of giveaways. You decide what works for you, what you can handle. If you're going to get angry about people winning stuff, just don't do them that way. Yes, also make sure it's an actual buyer giveaway. You've been in shows where it's labeled buyer, but it's actually set up as follower. Yeah. So when you set up your giveaways, make sure you click the right boxes for whether it's going to be a for everyone or a buyer giveaway. Otherwise, when you run it, you may be surprised and go, oh, whoops, that was supposed to be for buyers only. Um, you know, is it against terms to put a coupon in the show notes? No, that's totally legit. They want you to use coupons in that way. We were talking about sending a coupon code that's not advertised in shows. You can do that. It just can't be a giveaway because a giveaway has to be something, an actual product that you're sending them that doesn't require a purchase. So, yeah. But you can use coupons in your shows, advertise them in your show notes for people to use. Yeah, that's legit. All right. I need to get going here pretty quick. We have a busy day. Let me make sure I didn't miss any specific questions. Let's see. Timber, can I send a thank you card that has my actual website on it? Not giveaway, just with people's orders. So yes, that's fine. Although be careful, because you can get in trouble if you're heavily advertising on your profile for them to go shop elsewhere. That would be considered, sending people to fulfill an order somewhere else. So just be careful about that because you're not. It makes sense, right? Whatnot wants the sales to stay on Whatnot. So if you're heavily pushing people to go buy somewhere else, that would be seen as against terms of service, which says you can't, try to get people to go fulfill an order somewhere else. So be careful with that. Let's see. I don't see any others that I missed. Is there a way to print out a manifest? My post office is requesting it. Yes, Amy. When you go to do your shipping, that little sidebar menu. So when you're on your shipping screen, on the right-hand side, open that sidebar menu. And when you've finished shipping, there's a way to print it's called a scan sheet. I think is what it says on there. And you can print that out, take it to the post office, and they scan one code and it scans all the packages in all at once. But still use the in-app scanner yourself. If the post office wants that, that's fine, but you need to do the in-app scanner. So when you finish getting your packages all ready, they all have labels on them, go into Seller Hub Fulfillment on your mobile device and start scanning all the packages. Super important. That is how Whatnot is tracking your ship time. It is based on the in-app scanner, and it sends a picture to your customer showing them the actual package that you are shipping to them. And on the customer's end, when they open their orders, if that picture looks suspicious, like instead of a package, it's someone's fingers holding a label, they're actually told to report it as a suspicious thing. So don't scan until you have it on the package. Okay. Do I have to take the picture at the post office? No. If your post office is within, an hour drive, or they're picking up your orders, just do it right before they pick up or do it right before you head to the post office. They just want you to do it right before you're shipping it. Yeah, it's not hard to be an honest seller. I agree with you, P. Tiffany. I think it's actually harder to be a dishonest seller. I can't even imagine the amount of work and brain power it takes to be a scammer when they could just legitimately be selling and doing things above board. Does it impact ship time if you drop packages on a Sunday at the post office inside Dropbox? Well, it's not going to be a bad thing. Just make sure again that you're using that in-app scanner before you drop them off, because then you've showed that you dropped them off. And then it's not going to get scanned at the post office, obviously, until, it either gets open and they scan it, or it gets, to the next regional place where they scan. So that's fine. So, yep, just use that in-app scanner. Is everyone using that? Does everyone know how it works? I just keep telling people, please do that, because that is the number one thing they are relying on to keep track of how quickly you're shipping. They've stated that, they've emailed about it, and so on. So Sunday show starts the 48-hour countdown, yes, because the next day is a business day. So it goes on business days. So if you do a show on Friday, you have the weekend to get it there Monday, because Friday's a business day and Monday's a business day, but Saturday and Sunday are not. Does that make sense? So it doesn't start till after your show. So if you have a show Friday, you actually have Friday, rest of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is day one. Does that make sense? And then Tuesday would be day two. Fabric Revival. I have no access to my shopper listings during or prior to a show. I have reached out and still no fix. I have to create a quality listing at start. Wait, you have no access to my shop or listings during or prior to a show. That tells me that there's something wrong with your login. So for some reason, are you logged in on two different devices under two different accounts? And is something mixed up in that way? Because that shouldn't be happening. So I have to create. So it's letting you go live, but it's not letting you get into your shows. Are you able to create shows? The import from inventory is gone. So I have no access to my shop or listings. Oh, so your inventory is the problem. Huh, that's interesting. That's new to me. Send me a message with some pictures and some details, and I will see if I can forward that to some people that can get that fixed for you fast. Because yeah, there's something wrong with your account. That shouldn't be happening. Fabric Roost says I don't have import from inventory either. Oh, okay. So that's something I need to report then. So inventory. Let me just check and make sure. As I'm saying that, let's see what I have. Yeah, so it's popping up on mine. Import from inventory. Fabric Hounds has issues too. I have to go into the product and then add it to the show. So when you go into yours, this whole thing is not pop. You don't even have the little plus sign. When you go into yours, the little plus sign's not there. Okay, so do me a favor. Do you know how to do a screen record on your phone? So what I need is a couple of people to do screen records and send them to me. So message me. Oh, does it let you do videos? I can't remember. Anyway, message me, and if it won't let you drop the screen records to me, I'll give you a personal email address that you can drop them to. Because then I need to send that to them so they can figure out what's going on and go in and fix it. Okay, so let me take a screenshot of, let's see, the one that says that. Import from inventory. All right, so I've got a screenshot of that. And if a couple of you will message me with photos should work, but there's no video. Okay, so message me and I'll send you a private email that you can message me with a video, because it helps them to see the screen record and see what you're having to do. And then they can try and go in and see what's going on. So that's weird, because let me just look on my iPhone and make sure that's still the case with me. Yeah, mine's still showing up. So, interesting. And are you all on? Tell me when you message me if you're on iPhone or Android, because that's important too, because they have to know if it's just Android, just iPhone, or both. So tell me in your message whether it is one or the other or both. That way I'll know. All right. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. Read the show notes. And there's lots of info in the show notes, lots of info in the auction tab. We have a show scheduled on the 13th. This show right here will be live in front of the camera. We're going to be talking about attracting buyers. I think it's interesting that that's the topic they had us choose, or that they chose for us to talk about in June, one of the slowest sales seasons, but maybe that's why. So, kind of like, what can you do to still get people in your shows during the slower season? So, anyway, we're going to talk a lot about that. So, make sure you have that show bookmarked, the 13th at 10 a.m. All right, I need to get going. Let's go find someone to raid. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And have a great day. Make it a great day. And I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday on the treadmill walking, and I can answer your questions, hopefully, or guide you. And the chat's amazing, because honestly, I don't claim to know everything. And you get people in chat that can answer questions that I can't answer, and vice versa. I can't, it just helps to have shows like this where you can interact, from a seller's perspective and not have to worry about buyers. And yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Stay home. You're awesome too. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, make it a great day. Let's go find someone to raid. You are welcome. So let's see who's live out there. Let's go raid into someone that I've never been. How about Four Queens? Never been there. They're live with 14 people. They look fun. There's 4 ladies in this thumbnail. All right, we're going to go raid into them. So, raiding into 4 queens should be interesting. Thank you. Appreciate you guys too. Let's go raid 4 queens. 4, the number 4 was on there, right? Okay, that didn't come up. Let's do it this way. 4, that was right. 4 queens. Did they end? Okay, so it's not happening. Someone go check and tell me if they're still live because it's not letting me raid them. Let me try it on this phone. 4 queens. All right, maybe they're not live still. Is it spelled 4, the number 4, and I'm just like doing my dyslexic thing? Yeah, it's not coming up that way. Okay, maybe they're not live. That's so weird because it showed me they were. Meanwhile, everybody's leaving. All right, let's see. 4 queens. That is so weird that it won't show me. They are live, 4 queens. Okay, someone type it in chat with the ampersand for me so I can just click it. And that way, there we go. Okay, so is there a way to make giveaways? Did I just miss a question? Is there a way to make giveaways to where you can import them as well? There is sort of a weird workaround, but not really, because giveaways are made to be are made to be temporary. But there is a workaround cheater way you can do it. I don't know that it really works all that well though, because I tried it and I wasn't impressed. All right, let me see if I can get this to come up. There we go. All right, thanks everyone. Have a wonderful day. Rating now.